Are you ready to learn? Because my super experienced guests are ready to share some really valuable information. Make sure and listen all the way to the end to get help and support. So let's start with the best audio experience.
Hello everyone and welcome to our show. Today we discuss about leadership, how you can become a leader in your team, in your business, everywhere. And I'm excited to discuss this topic with Petra. Zink. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, nice. I check out your profile. You have extended experience. Before we start, just tell more about yourself, your experience, background, and why you decided to take this topic.
Well, my name is Petra Zink. I live now in Australia. I'm originally from Austria, came here nearly 12 years ago for 6 months and never left. I love the lifestyle. I love the people. I love everything about it. What I'm doing today, I'm a personal brand and digital strategist. And what that means is I'm working with senior corporate professionals and help them go from being the technical expert to become the trusted authority in their industry.
Nice. Love it. Yeah, you run two companies. Can you tell how to run two companies? For example, for me, it's hard to run one company because you need to handle team, to control them, to check out all this performance. Tell how to do it. I think Elon Musk can, and you provide more insights about that.
Absolutely. Now, they both work together. So I've got a B2C company called Impact, and this is where we work with individual leaders on how they can build their authority in the marketplace. It may be that they want to climb up the corporate ladder. It may be that you want to land a board role. It may be that you want to add public speaking into their career portfolio. It may also be that they want to start their own consulting practice. There are multiple reasons why you actually want to become the authority, the go-to in your industry. And then at the same time, because my background is brand and product marketing as the actual individual contributor and as a leader, and then I switched into recruitment. And what I've realized there was that so many talented professionals couldn't sell themselves. And this is actually how I got into personal branding to start with. And what over the last probably 3 years especially has shown is that companies need the best talents to stay competitive, to future-proof themselves. So we still work also with companies on how we can get the best out of their leaders, out of their teams connected with their company brand. So it's very much a similar approach. They very much work hand in hand together. And this is how I can actually scale, because the approach, the results are very similar. It's just a different audience that we work with, and also the way how we deliver content and the results is different.
Nice. Love it. Okay. For example, if someone wanna become a leader, can you tell where to start? For example, I don't know. Everyone can be a leader, or it's just you need to born with that, to have this talent. Provide more insights about that.
Oh, I love this question, because it starts with defining what leadership actually means to you. For me, in my very traditional upbringing, it was always you need to lead big teams, then you are a leader. Full stop. And I worked towards this position, and then I had a team of 16 and I hated it. I just didn't get a joy out of it. I was tired in a second. I woke up. It was quite draining. And what I didn't realize was that my sweet spot is actually in leading with thoughts, leading with content, leading with original ideas rather than leading people as such. So it starts with self-awareness. What is leadership to you? What does success look like? And where can you contribute your best yourself? It might be that you are inspiring other people to do and be their best. Then people leadership is great, but it could also be change leadership. For example, if you're a project manager or a change manager, how can you inspire change also without the admin, the HR responsibilities connected with it? It might be, in my case, it's more thought leadership. How can you start different conversations based on different ideas and angles and insights? And this is where it all starts. What does leadership actually mean to you? What does success look like? And where can you contribute your best and biggest value to?
Yeah. Once I read the study about when people feel exhausted or tiredness. It's interesting that if you feel if you have this feeling, that means you have additional 60% of time, to work hard. So I got it.
Yes.
For example, yeah, you don't need to search for excuses, just go ahead. And for me, leadership, it's more to show your team that you can work hard, to work more than anybody else in your team. And yeah, it's a good leadership. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's more what you do and what you show rather than what you tell and what you say, because actions speak still a lot louder than words. And as I said, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have direct people responsibilities to be a leader. Simply by you starting a different conversations on LinkedIn, for example, can still establish you as a leader. Or also in your team, you don't need the title to be the leader. And this is also when we talk about future leadership, which is very different to traditional leadership. What we see in companies, that hierarchy is getting a lot flatter. So we can't necessarily bank on getting the promotion, getting the more senior role in a year, in 2 years, in 5 years time. So the question is, how can we influence also without the title necessarily? How can we build trust that we know what we're doing, that we are reliable, also without necessarily having the manager or the leadership title connected to it? And this is the new way how we can actually create change, how we can influence and impact organizations and results.
Nice, nice, nice. Love it. Okay, can you tell how to encourage others? For example, if you have a team and you wanna empower them to go ahead to achieve high results, but many people might have their goals, for example, family, kids, anything, or traveling. But you wanna tell them that we need to produce high quality products, we need to work hard. How to encourage them to do it?
Well, it starts with making it relevant to them. Just because I say eat broccoli or exercise 5 times a day, you're like, oh, go away. Because I haven't listened to you. I haven't asked you the question, what's important to you and how does your contribution actually create a bigger impact? And this is where so many professionals also lose their motivation in their own roles, because they don't see how they actually contribute to something bigger. The vision has never been explained. They don't know what the purpose is of doing the doing. It's just paying the bills, but that gets old very quickly. So it starts with identifying what are your drivers, what are your motivators. Everyone wants to be fit, but for different reasons. For one person, it could mean that they would fit into the wedding dress that comes up in 3 months' time. For the other person, it means that they don't have to undergo a surgery, or that they can actually prepare for a surgery, that they're getting healthier. So what does it mean for you to be fit? And why is it important, and how can we build a plan around you that is sustainable? And also not going from 0 to 100. Like, if I've never exercised, if I've never written content, if I've never done something that would stretch me a lot, but I know this is kind of the next step, what can I do right now that gets me a little bit further? So it might be that we say we start with 15 minutes exercise. If you don't like it, it doesn't matter. It's only 15 minutes. And then it's 20 minutes, and then it's 30 minutes. So how can we also create and develop our own confidence and commitment muscle by getting some results and saying, it was actually not too bad. I probably could run another 5 minutes, or I could, lift another 2 kilos heavier, whatever it might be. So simple, smaller steps, and then also celebrating those little milestones and expanding from there.
Yeah, I want to share how I, practice my confidence, because, when I started to film videos, because English is only my third language, but that was interesting for me. That was better to break my leg than film a video, because I was not confident, to film any video. I didn't want to tell anything, but after filming 100 videos, I can get this confidence. Can you tell more, about confidence? For example, if someone shy and have no idea how to overcome it, how to do it, how to achieve your goals, for example, if you are not confident with something.
Oh, confidence is a myth. It doesn't just show up one day. You wake up, it's like, oh, there's my confidence. Finally, it doesn't happen. Action inspires confidence, because with action, you get results. And with that, you get experience. And with that experience, you build confidence. So how to build confidence is to have more of those experiences. When, I'm actually the biggest introvert that you will ever meet. And still,
Yeah.
I'm speaking for a living. How did I do it? I started very very small. So initially I started to host lunch and learn sessions in my back then company for my team, but I actually only organized it and got guest speakers in. I didn't even speak myself. And then slowly but surely I started to interview the guest speaker. And then we did a 50-50 split, that I did a half session and then the guest speaker did another half session. And then slowly I hosted my own events that I interviewed others, a big panel. Then I spoke by myself. Then I spoke for bigger stages. So you want to build this confidence muscle. And the more experience you gain, the more results you gain, the more confidence you gain. So having confidence simply because you are a special person is a myth. It does not happen.
Yeah, got it. Interesting. Okay, can you tell more about patience? I often see when someone gives up, because they can't see results for a few days. Even, it's interesting. My son decided to give up to play soccer for a few days because he couldn't play like Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. I told him, no, you need to be patient with results. Can you tell more about that? And I'll share this video with my son.
I love this question because I'm also the least patient person on earth. Everything should be done by yesterday. Having said that, this is where it's so important to fall in love with the process and not with the end results. Because often we get so hung up to earn a certain amount of money, to have the certain title, to have a particular skill, that we don't enjoy the journey to actually get there. And this is what we want to focus on, because if it's really important to you, then you want to master this craft, this skill, this behavior. And that means it's an evolution. There is no end goal as such. You could always earn more. You could always have more influence. You can always kick the ball better. So falling in love with the process, enjoying the journey, celebrating those highs, but also sharing the lows and how we actually overcome it. That is what makes us committed. And also realizing, why is it so important for me to master public speaking? Why is it so important to be a really good football player? Because often it's not necessarily kicking the football really well. It may be that we get the respect that we actually crave, or the love that we are looking for. So it's often the underlying motivation that gets us going. So realizing, why is it so important for me to earn $500,000 or to have the director title or to whatever it might be?
Yeah. From my experience, it's better not to think about money. For example, I remember, that was interesting. My second business in Ukraine was something that I hated. I just chased money. I tried to earn all money in the world, but I failed for 3 years. I wasted a lot of resources with that because I didn't understand the topic. I just thought that I can create something new, but without understanding the topic. And yeah, I failed for 3 years. But when I started to do what I like, what I love, when you don't care about money, you can go ahead with that, because money is not in the first stage. It's like playing ping pong. If I'm not waiting when someone will pay money for playing ping pong, because I'm not professional, to show other people my skills. And yeah, for me, it's more important to love what you do. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. And this also comes back to clarifying for you what success means, what leadership actually means, because we are so driven by society standards. If you don't earn 6 figures, if you don't have this title, if you don't get married until you're 32, whatever it might be, then you're not successful. But what if I'm not driven by all of that? And this is what we as a society, I think we have to learn or relearn, probably, that it's okay to chase whatever success looks to you. For others, it might be to finish every day at 3 o'clock to go to a yoga class, for example, or to only work 2 days a week to travel the world, whatever it might be. So also breaking away from those standards, what you have to have and be and do in order to be successful.
Yeah. Once I read a story about one guy who earned $8 million a year, good money, but he was unhappy with that because he couldn't earn $1 billion. And the second story was about a guy who trained a basketball team, earned $40K a year, and he was so happy with that because he, when he took a basketball field, he can feel happy. No, he doesn't need anything else because it's his life. So I think, yeah, it's better to find what you like. Can you tell more
Absolutely.
about, yeah, what do you think about qualities? What kind of qualities leadership need to have? Yeah.
I would say two big qualities that stand out for me straight away. It's first being self-aware. And this is
Mm-hmm.
where leadership actually starts, meaning what is it that makes me tick? What are my drivers? What are my motivators? What do I stand for? And also, what do I not stand for? Simply knowing what you can bring to the table, because based on that, you can build a team, a high functioning, a high performing team around you. So, for example, I know in my corporate career, I excelled until I failed, and I questioned my own abilities. And there's this famous quote from Albert Einstein, which I'll probably butcher, but he said something along the lines: if you put a fish on a tree and expect it to climb, it will always feel it's dumb. And
Mm-hmm.
this also is what happens to so many senior leaders. Simply because we are an individual contributor and outperformed in this role doesn't mean that we are an incredible leader, because it's a different skill set. But nobody knows us better than ourselves. So going back and seeing, where have I excelled in and at, and why, and
Mm-hmm.
how did it make me feel? So it also comes down to the energy management side of things, not just time management. Because as you said before, when I'm really good at it and I enjoy doing it, time flies by and I excel in doing it. And I can probably create a much bigger outcome that others could, that wouldn't be in their wheelhouse, that isn't their strength. So this is the first part. And then also being intentional. Everyone talks about you need to be authentic and so forth. And I think, no, you're probably not. For me, for example, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I literally just finished the gym. If I would be authentic, I would be still sweaty. I would probably be still half asleep. And I'm showing up intentionally because I want to create value that others can benefit from. I want to give my best for you because you are producing the show. And this is what leadership also means. What is it that you want to bring to the table? How do you show up intentionally? And which actions do you need to align to make this happen? So
Mm-hmm.
self-awareness and
Nice.
intentional.
Nice. Sorry for my invitation. I didn't know that it's
Oh,
five.
I love it. I'm a morning person. I've been up since 3 o'clock, but
Yeah, yeah, appreciate. I can't avoid this question. No, I see some books on your background. Can you tell more your loving books and why you read them?
yes, until last year, I never ever want to write a book. It was never on my bucket list. And then one morning I said to my partner, you know what? I need to write a book. And he just said, okay. And, English is also not my first language. But what
Mhm,
I thought is, I want to leave a legacy. I want to give
mhm,
people the tools, the actionable steps that they can leverage to future proof their career, to become the go to in their field. And this is what got me to write a book. And at the same time, I've been writing content in different shapes and forms, from articles and blog posts and podcast episodes and keynotes of the last 8 years. And I thought, what if I actually connect all of that together and give people a blueprint how they can become the trusted authority? Because nowadays the future of work is here. And I always say we're not in a new world of work, we are in the next world of work. But nobody teaches us what it actually takes to succeed in the profession or the career that we are choosing for now. That might change in 2 years' time. But in the second you know the blueprint and can follow certain framework, you are prepared for it. And this is what makes us as a society and an economy, it puts us in a much better state.
mhm. Nice, love it. Can you tell how to improve writing skills? If you write a lot, you probably know about that, especially about books. Can you tell how to do it? For example, once I read a book, Jack London, Martin Eden, very nice book, yeah. I recommend to everyone to read this book about a guy who didn't have any education, but he had perseverance to go ahead, and and he could overcome many famous people in his time. Can you tell from your experience how to improve the skills?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, with the caveat to say that I failed English nearly 4 years in a row when I was in high school. And writing is a skill that only gets better the more you do it. And I wrote, even if it's just, 300 words for the last few years, and some of the blogs totally flopped. So it starts with knowing when is your creative time. For some it might be in the morning because this is where the brain are fresh. For others it might be at night when the kids are in bed. So knowing what time is it that you can be at your best in terms of your creative skills, and then work around a schedule. Again, knowing when do you perform your best. This is when you batch the task, or do you do it daily? So for me, I'm actually better when I'm batching. So I usually write, when I wrote my book, I sometimes wrote for 8 hours straight, but then I didn't write for the next 5 days. For others, it may mean that you only do 20 minutes because this is where you are at your best. So even exploring and experimenting a little bit. And the one thing that would also say would get you better with writing is actually reading, because you get new ideas, you get new inspirations, and that also might mean to listen to an audiobook. So it doesn't necessarily need to be reading, but it could also be getting inspiration from podcasts, from audiobooks, and constantly being out for new inspirations. We see events and situations and story happening literally in front of us. So how can we be more intentional to connect it to the topic that we want to stand for, that's important to us?
Yeah, yeah. I love audio experience. I love listening to books because I have no time to read. Yeah, yeah. I have this time. I have this time, but in most cases, for example, if I run, exercise, or walk with my dogs, yeah, I can listen and to kill two birds, in one stone.
Exactly. And this is productive multitasking, because there's so much dead time. And, I listen to about 4 hours podcast a day, and people always say, but how can you do it? I don't have the time. I said, sum it up in a second. You brush your teeth in the morning, you can listen to a 10-15 minutes podcast. You're driving to the gym, for example, you're exercising, you're walking the dogs, you're
Yeah.
going shopping, you are ironing, you do the laundry. There are so much dead time that doesn't require you mental capacity, and you can actually use that to learn. I agree, multitasking, when you write an essay and you do a phone call or an interview, you cannot do that. You can't concentrate on both things. But being smart with multitasking is absolutely the way moving forward. Also, when we talk about the future of learning, it's about those micro moments. How can you create those micro credentials and micro moments in your schedule that works with you?
Yeah, love it, love it. Can you tell why you created two companies? Why not one? What is the difference between them?
Well, it all started when I was still a corporate employee, and
Mhm.
I was in recruitment, and I placed so many people into roles, but I also realized that it was because I could translate what their background was and why they could contribute to my client's organization and their vacancy so well. Because often, when I always say, when you are in the jar, you can't read the label. And
Mhm.
I thought, what if I help them to create a process, a method, a system that they can clarify what their competitive advantage is? Because then they can communicate it confidently and online and offline and consistently themselves. And this is how they can commercialize themselves in one way or the other: corporate role, board engagement, their own business. But at the same time, because I work with so many organizations who were looking for talents, who were looking to develop their leaders, who were looking to future proof their business, this is how it all came about. So initially, it started with Impact on its own to work with B2C. But because I still had so many contacts and clients who wanted to continue working with me, I initially became partner in another business. And then 3 years ago, we separated, and I built the business to be more to also diversify the offers. So for example, with recruitment, we do hackathons for young talents, for example. With leadership coaching, leadership retreats, we also work on future leadership skills and global leadership capacities, which was a thing that we covered before COVID-19 was a thing. And prior to that, everyone said, oh, we don't need global leadership team capabilities, it's all right. And now all of a sudden everyone thinks, how can we make this work? So this is why the two businesses, and again, they work hand in hand together, so it's a nice fit.
I love your energy in the morning. I need to learn from you. How to find this energy at 5 a.m. No way. It's
Now,
hard.
I have to say, I'm a bit weird. I'm a morning person every single day for the last probably 7 years. Starts at
Uh-huh.
3:02. So I'm usually in the gym, and then start my day around 6, my working day around 6. So I'm good
Yeah,
to go.
nice.
I love this time.
Nice, nice. Okay, can you tell leaders should listen or talk more?
Sorry, say it again. I
I
missed
mean,
that.
like a leader, what leaders should do more? Listen or talk?
Oh, listen, absolutely. There's a reason why we've got 2 ears and one mouth. Often, this is also, where I see the biggest shift happening also in leadership. It was all about managing and giving you the task because we could
Mhm,
foresee what we need to do. We, also education pretty much prepares us to fit into a mold, to do certain tasks over and over again. But thanks to technology and also different customer expectations, the skill sets that are required to meet those change demands are shifting. So nobody knows exactly what it takes to be successful tomorrow, next week, in 3 years' time. Simply
mhm,
asking more questions as a leader, also putting it out to the team. Instead of giving the answer straight away, which we're all primed to do, it's like, well, how would you go about it? What do you think is the biggest
mhm,
challenge? What could be, simply having positive psychology and coaching skills in your arsenal. This is what the leadership of the future is all about, rather than just saying, do this, then do that, and then tick that box.
mhm.
There, having
Yeah.
said that, management skills, exactly doing that has a certain time and place, of course. But if we are talking about inspirational leadership and also getting the best out of people, not just the most out of people, how many boxes can I physically tick in an hour, then coaching skills are definitely the key to it.
Mhm. From my experience, I often see two types of people. The first type love to talk a lot, to share about anything. Yeah, I usually listen to them because when I listen, I can get valuable insights how I can provide in my services, digital marketing
Mhm.
services. The second type usually listen to me. For example, they want to know what kind of value I can provide, how I can help them to grow. Can you tell how to find the best leadership style? We need to consider our nature. I don't know, our character, or I don't know. Provide more insights about that. Listen or talk.
Yes. Well, everyone responds to different type of leadership style. But
Mhm,
having said that, it also comes down to, again, the self-awareness. So I see a lot of leaders who try to prove their worth and their value, who try to constantly talk and talk over others and don't give others the space because they feel obliged to having to have all the answers. And this is not the case. In a second we make somebody feel special, they feel special, obviously, and that creates a positive halo effect on us. So it also comes down to your leadership brand. How do you want to be perceived, and what are the actions aligned to it? So, you know, people always say, but how can it be more interesting for others? And I always say, well, it starts with you becoming interested in them, giving the space
mhm,
to talk. And everyone likes to talk about themselves, to be honest. So giving
mhm,
people the opportunity in a safe space and encouraging the conversation, this is what creates, bigger ideas and bigger conversations. So
mhm.
yeah, I would say always in doubt, let other people talk more and listen more, and even just ask some clarifying question. Oh, can you elaborate on that? What do you mean by this? Simply showing interest in others, that makes them feel special, that makes them feel important, and this is where they have the buy-in, where they always looked after me, so of course I'm looking after my leader. I'm not going to jump to the next role that pays me $100 more, which we're currently seeing. Like, there's such a big war for talent, especially in
Mhm.
Australia, and I think also in the US, because less loyalty. Um, Employees see that there's so much more to life than just having a role, and how can you make people want to stay in your organization, but make them feel appreciated and valued and respected?
Nice, nice. I love it. Once I heard interesting quote from Elon Musk, and he said, "If your team doesn't fail, that means they are not enough innovative. That
Mhm.
means team needs to fail many times because they can test, find something new, don't copy others, some generic methods. But I often see when bad bosses criticize their team, oh, how you can do it, you have your checklist. Can you tell how to not to criticize but empower others if they make these mistakes?
Well, there's a difference between making a mistake because you haven't followed a process that's already there and failing
Mhm,
on purpose, because innovation by definition is actually trialing testing, meaning you don't
mhm,
know exactly what the outcome is, so you need to expect there are going to be challenges and hurdles and pushbacks. So how can we refine that? Whereas if we have followed the process for the last 100 years because we have to do certain things, that's a different type of mistake. And it also comes down, you probably have heard the term design thinking. How can we create,
mhm,
say, the different customer experience in a safe space, in models, for example, and how can we create a bit of a prototype on a smaller scale and try it, get feedback, refine it, see what works, what doesn't work. So the two types of failing is a very different approach. Failing because I'm lazy, I haven't done the training, I'm ruthless, for example, washing your hands before you see a patient. If you're a doctor, that's ruthless, that's a big mistake and a big no. Whereas if we
mhm,
say we try to find a new vaccination for COVID-19, of course there are going to be errors and mistakes because we don't know, and this is where the failing forward approach comes in.
Yeah, got it. Um, can you tell, for example, I'm a business owner. Yeah, I have a company. Let's imagine a big company. And can you provide a strong reason why I need to take your services if I don't know your profile? Yeah, I know your profile. I know that you have extended experience. I know that you can help. But if I don't know about that, can you provide a strong reason how you can help me to improve some results on my team with your services?
Absolutely. In the end, people still buy from people they know, like, and trust, even if there's a big company behind it. It's still the account manager that drives the business. It's still the director that has the relationships. It's still a business owner that actually creates business opportunities. So, especially nowadays where we've got more choices and with that more competition than ever, what makes us choose one company or one service provider or one product or another is how much do we resonate with them? How much do we feel understood by them? How much can they translate what we are feeling and thinking and wanting in their marketing message? And the more they can be human, the more I
Mhm,
relate to them. So in the end, we've always engaged with people we know, like, and trust. Nowadays with technology, it's just a different level how we do it. Most first interactions happen online. So what can you do that your online presence and profile actually does the heavy lifting for you already? What kind of keywords can you have there? What kind of marketing messaging can you have there? But then also, have you got social proof? What do others experience with you? What do others say about you? Having a good comprehensive narrative that you actually curate and create based on what you want to be known for, that's a big step already to stand out without having to be loud, without overshouting. Back in the days when I went to uni, it was marketing was all about how can we um overpay, for example. How can we
mhm,
um out advertise. If
mhm,
somebody doesn't have that big budget, we just spend even more on advertisement. Nowadays most of those platforms are for free. Think of social media. Now the companies, the leaders, the authorities that stand out are the ones who out contribute with content, with sharing knowledge, with sharing wisdom, with translating their knowledge into a language that's easy to understand for others. So it comes down to those aspects.
Nice, nice. Okay, I want to share my story. A few years ago, we worked on a big project, and yeah, we expected to get good revenue. But in my team, I had no time to handle all processes in my team, and we got a toxic environment. I didn't know about that, and good players, key players in my team left the company. So I decided to learn what's going on because I felt that everything is fine, but that was not. So after that, I got it that I need to pay attention to take away toxic environment in the future. Yeah. Can you tell more how to handle the process for busy business owners who have no time to spend time with their team? Yeah, I know it's important. We need to find this time, but if it's hard to find this time when you have a lot of other things to do, how to handle a toxic environment and I don't know to have this friendship in your team and not only like colleagues. Yeah, we are working together, but more about friendship. Can you provide more insights about that?
Well, I think there are two questions in there because making time and finding time, two different things. It comes down to priorities. When I say culture and and transparency, for example, in our team, are key core values, then it means that we need to prioritize seeing each other and checking in with each other. And it doesn't need to be long. It could be a 10 minutes stand-up huddle every morning, or a once a week half an hour meeting. So I've got a global team, and for example, we are checking in on Mondays, and it's between 10 and 15 minutes that everyone knows what are the priorities for the week, what did we do last week, what has changed, and also just to say hello, and this is all we need. And then the rest of the communication happens on Slack. So it's finding a rhythm that works with you and not against you, having some kind of fixed touch points that can be quite minimal. That already takes the heaviness out of, oh my god, we have to meet again for an hour. Or you don't meet for say 3 weeks, and then the meeting goes like for 3 hours because everyone needs to vent and get rid of it. So that comes down to what is the operational process that works best for the team. When we talk about toxic environments, we need to identify what's the reason for it. Is it because somebody tries to walk over others to get ahead? What kind of personalities are in there? What creates this toxic environment? Is it because we have to prove ourselves? Is it also because maybe we are so scared that we are losing our roles? This could also create a toxic environment, that we just try to outwork and outperform everyone, that we are not getting made redundant or whatever it might be. So it goes to the core as to why is it actually so competitive or so toxic, and then work a way around it. I found myself also in very toxic environments, and I didn't realize it was all about this competitiveness. Marketing as such is quite a competitive industry, and the companies and teams that I was in, everyone literally walked over others to get ahead. Whereas now working with teams and organizations that I'm choosing because I see what can happen, it's completely opposite experience. Everyone lifts each other up and pushes the other forward because nobody fears of their own role. Nobody doubts their own contribution and capabilities. So it's a very different reason and environment why it can go toxic.
Yeah, love it. Okay, I have the last final question to you. Can you tell if someone wanna be an expert like you, where to start, what to learn, what books to read to get all these skills and provide in their experience and to grow themselves as a leadership?
It starts with acknowledging that you don't just wake up one morning and say, I'm an expert, I'm the authority in here. It's a process, it's an evolution. And it starts with you being simply curious for a few topics, and also connected with strengths and skills and experience that you already have. In the second, we say, what, I'm so fascinated by neurodiversity. I don't have a PhD, I haven't written a book, I don't have anything about it. Doesn't mean that you couldn't become an authority in that space. What it means is, how can you research so much about the topic, even with interviewing others, reading about it, taking a few courses, developing your own thought leadership around it, that you eventually through the process of sharing content, of getting, the right connections, that you become it. So it's not something that you're born with or you're one day finally get over this hump. It's a process of becoming it, and you expand also in that. So it's committing to lifelong learning, and again, being very intentional and mindful as to what are my strengths, what are my skill set, and what are my biggest interests. What is it that I would love to learn about, research, listen to, talk about 24/7, also when I don't get paid. So this is really a good indicator what kind of direction to take, and then obviously overlaid with the market demand. Is anyone already talking about neurodiversity or neuroscience, for example? Well, yes, there is. But what kind of angle could I take? Is it that I've got a personal experience with a friend or a family member who suffers from, neurodiversity challenges? Then I can connect the story with the science and create my own positioning. Or is it that I'm in leadership and I'm working with a very different or diverse team? Then I would take a different angle. So what is your positioning, basically, that makes you different? And then continue to develop your own thought leadership on that, starting conversations, creating a network around it. And this is how you become the authority.
You unhided all my secrets. All my secrets, because I didn't have PhD, any degree, marketing. You unhided all my secrets. How I got them.
But you don't need it. I was reading literally this morning at the gym that the enrollments to colleges and universities, especially in the US, have dramatically decreased, and it continues to decrease because 18, 20-year-olds realized that simply a degree doesn't mean they are successful. It doesn't mean that they are future-proofing their career. It comes down to the marketing and sales capabilities of yourself. How can you also consistently and continuously reinvent yourself to stay relevant? Just because I started marketing in 2006, it's a long time ago, it doesn't make me a marketing specialist, because everything that happened even 5 years ago is old, it's outdated. Like, we learned how to do billboard advertisement and radio advertisement, not social media, not influencer marketing, not something that's relevant today. So simply having a lot of years of experience doesn't actually make you better at something. And I always say your best thinking 5 or 10 or 15 years ago could now become your biggest baggage, because we haven't embraced technology. We haven't embraced 5 generations in the workforce. We haven't embraced different expectations from consumer to actually stay relevant. Think of Uber. My parents always say, never ever go into a car with a stranger. And what are we doing now? We're paying for it to go in a car with a stranger. But again, it couldn't have been possible a few years ago simply because we didn't have the technology. So being curious about what's next and embracing the change.
Nice. Thanks a lot, Petra. Yeah, it's a big pleasure to get on my show, to learn a lot from you. You are a real leader. Yeah, I love it. And tell our audience how they can reach out to you, learn more about you, follow you.
Absolutely. Now, I also have a podcast. So everyone who is already interested in podcasts, it's Your Brand, Your Future. We are across all the channels. And I always say I live on LinkedIn. So this is the easiest way to connect with me. If anyone wants to learn what it takes to become the trusted authority, you can go also onto my website, Impact with /freebies, to get very comprehensive guides. Download that and we can go from there.
Okay, guys, you need to do it. You need to do it if you want to be a real leader. As Petra, you need to do it. Thanks a lot. It's a big pleasure again, for your time, because you started in the morning, 5 a.m.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, thank you so much for stepping up as a leader yourself and doing it also when it is uncomfortable. And you've done such an amazing job with the interview, with the question, with the preparation. So keep up the fantastic work, and I'm more than happy to support you in any way I can.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, guys, listen us on Google, Apple, Spotify. You can find all links to Petra Zink, to LinkedIn, to your website, to your companies in the description below. And see you next time.